Hello, Kia ora, Mark here with a very short video on the subject of what kind of person suffers from retroactive jealousy. So you may be watching this on one of my sites that's specific to retroactive jealousy, or you may be watching this on my Patreon channel, the Mark the Demystifier, in which case this is part of the Demystifying Retroactive Jealousy series. What kind of person suffers from retroactive jealousy? Well, if you don't know what retroactive jealousy is, then you need to watch one of my other videos or log into my website, which is retr-act.com. But if you're familiar with retroactive jealousy, or if you're unfortunate enough to suffer from retroactive jealousy, then I shall continue on the subject of what kind of person suffers from it. So on the subject of busting myths and demystifying things, the first assumption that people often make is that it's something just that men suffer from, and that's not true at all. It's actually, as far as we're aware of the people that are coming forward at the moment for help with retroactive jealousy, it seems to be a fairly equal gender balance. There sometimes is a slight difference in the nature of the retroactive jealousy between women and men, but that's not completely clear cut, because men can suffer from the female type, if you can call it that, and women can suffer from the male type. If you want to find out more about that, there's more on the website, and that will be featured in other videos as well. But what kind of person? Well, as I said before, there's no clinical, formal, empirical research into this subject. If you're somebody that's watching who's about to do a PhD and you want to do a research project, then please get in touch with me, because we need research badly in this field. All we've got at the moment is theory and information that's come forth mainly from sufferers. So what do we know or think we know so far from the people who've come forward to help? What's interesting is, and this is maybe speculative, but I think useful, is people with retroactive jealousy tend to be romantics. And when I say romantics, I'm not necessarily talking about people that like to wine and dine people and order meals in the best restaurants and send flowers and chocolates, but people who are perhaps more sentimental, people who are perhaps more nostalgic, people who imbue things with more meaning than they naturally and inherently have. That's how I would define romance in the sort of broadest level. So the kind of person who creates stories and narratives as well. So if you are the kind of person who, when you revisit somewhere you've not been to for a long time, that you kind of every single kind of post box and shop and road has kind of fond memories, and you've kind of overlaid that with a kind of a rosy glow, then that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And one of the things that's interesting is a lot of the people that seem to suffer from retroactive jealousy, and I notice this when people email me, often they're really good writers and they present themselves and their problem in story form, which kind of makes sense, really, because the kind of people that don't suffer from retroactive jealousy are the people that have a very kind of different worldview, that see things in a much more basic level. So one of the main areas where people with retroactive jealousy add a romantic veneer to things is relationships and sex. Often people with retroactive jealousy see sex as something incredibly sacred, incredibly precious. So therefore, how could that be shared among the unworthy, or how can that be shared in all but the best circumstances? People that don't think that way think, well, I just had a shag, I can't even remember it. That's how people without retroactive jealousy think. So people with retroactive jealousy, what kind of person, what kind of people are they? Romantics, people who imbue things with meaning. It's interesting because actually, we're encouraged to be meaningful and be deep and imbue things with meaning, but actually sometimes that just creates more psychological harm for ourselves. Often they're writers, often they're historians, they're people that see things in narratives and see things as a story. So that's just an interesting thought. So maybe that applies to you. Maybe that doesn't apply to you, maybe it applies to somebody that you know. It's not a good thing or a bad thing, but it is something to think about if you're in recovery from retroactive jealousy. Are you applying meaning where that's not actually helpful? Are you applying too much romance, too much veneer, too much meaning to things that really weren't that important or weren't that special? Food for thought. And I will see you soon in another video. Please sign up as a patron on Patreon. My channel is called Mark the Demystifier. It costs you $1, that is all, and you'll get access to all the new videos that I film. Please look for my website. Please friend me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook group specifically for retroactive jealousy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much. Bye.